There we go. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Red and Blue Review. My name is Nick Philpott, and I'm your host once again this evening on this Bank Holiday Monday, following a great win away at Ellen Road yesterday. The Roy's magic continues. Joining me this evening, you'll shortly see them all popping up on screen. I've got who have I got with me tonight? I've got him, my wingman, Joe Holyoke. Hello, boy. How are you?
Yeah, mate. You all right?
I was looking for the pole behind you, but I couldn't see it. But anyway, never mind. Fergus Tidd joins us from Uckfield in deepest Sussex. How are you, Ferg?
Evening all.
And coming on board right now is our Theresa, Mother Theresa. How are you, darling? You're right, my darling?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Very good.
We're going to kick off one by one if you don't mind. Theresa, how's things in your household? Because, ladies and gentlemen, those that you don't know, Theresa shares our property with a Leeds United fan who I understand, for some particular reason, isn't very happy.
He hasn't spoken to me at all today. It's probably because I've worn a Palace shirt all day and just walked around with a big smug smile on my face.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen out in Facebook land, I can see you all. Paul Holden, Chris Thompson, Graham Kitchen, James Markle, Lucy Usher, we love you, Richard Thomas, Ian Appy, Paul Wilshire, Gary Fisher, all of you, each and every one of you, wherever you are watching in the world. You're even getting your own private messages on here, Ferg. Can you see them? James Markle says, hi, Ferg. Facebook user says, go team. Steve Brown, hi, gang. Nadine, hi Nadine, hope you're well. Listen, all of you looking at me right now, please look at this. Don't look at my mug. Look at this mug. Okay, it is the Red and Blue Review mug. For those of you joined our YouTube page during the week, there's 6 of you were lucky winners of one of the famous Red and Blue Review mugs. I need to let you know, ladies and gentlemen, out on Facebook land, because I can see there's a Facebook user out there. Please be aware that in the new season, we will be switching off our Facebook links, not because we have to, because we want to, because we want you to subscribe onto our YouTube channel. Please jump over there if you haven't already done so. We know what the number was when we came on live this evening. There it is, the Red and Blue Review 8132. Get on there now very quickly and hit the subscribe button, because if you do, I'll tell you what, Lucy Usher is watching the show right now, and she's going to hate. There's 3 of the winners from during the week. Hopefully you've got yours already. If you haven't got them, they're on their way to you. Lucy's going to hate what I'm about to do. Lucy, we didn't prepare this. I know we didn't, but I've got another 6 of these to give away randomly to the people that subscribe to our YouTube channel this evening. So we know what the number was when we came on air. Okay, get over there now. Get yourself a chance to win. And those 6 will be chosen at random by Nigel Crouch tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning. And we will, somebody's got a dog barking, and we will get, for 6 of you lucky subscribers, we will get that in the post to you sometime this week. So please jump on. It's really important for your future watching, ladies and gentlemen. Just get over there and give it a like and a subscribe. So we're going to kick off this evening, if you don't mind. We have a bit of news. Lucy says, good luck posting them, Nick. Okay. Well, I haven't got them, love. You got them. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, did you know, and this is not being confirmed what I'm about to tell you from the club, did you know that we've actually made a signing? A new signing is joining the team. Danish international, apparently. Crystal Palace have now signed Galatasaray defender Victor Nelson, who is a Danish international, so he's obviously a mate of Anderson's, okay? A player who was lauded by Newcastle United in 2022, and they tried to sign him. However, from what I understand, and from what these reports are, and they are not confirmed reports from the club, Palace have already made their first signing at the end of the season. And Nigel Crouch says, news to him. Andy Hopper, the mugs will not be going out of the country to Australia, but thank you for asking. This is for the UK only, because they will not let us, they will not travel all the way down to East. So, mate, Mr. Hopper, you'll have to get over it, and I'll actually give you one of these free of charge anyway for your dedication to the show. So what we're going to do, if you don't mind, we're going to start off with our usual little bit of touch on the loan watch and how the other teams have done. And then Jill's going to talk us through the match action for yesterday. I don't know about you lot, but I woke up this morning with a smile on my face. I've had that same smile on my face all day. And I think to myself, where did that come from? Where did that come from? We're also, Fergus is also looking at all your comments in Facebook. So please send him any messages you like, anything relevant to what we're talking about. He will put his hand up and say some hellos and everything else. Go on, mate, go for it now. Anything in there?
Yeah, there's so regarding the Danish signing, Dave Hart says, let's hope he brings the bacon home. Which I know, terrible, isn't it? Terrible. Yeah, we've got Dave Hart for you. Yeah, we've got Mark Callahan, Andy Hopper, Stephen Isles, Mikko Purinen, Gary Clark, Paul Bristow, Justin Granger. How good was Johnson yesterday?
Coming on to that, mate. We're coming on to that.
Yeah. There's some people out there asking that if they've already registered for YouTube, can they still enter the competition for the mugs?
Well, you can't, because your entry won't get registered, because you've already subscribed. You donut, whoever asked that. Right, we're going to do Loan Watch, okay? But we're going to do Loan Watch in a slightly different fashion, because I want to talk to you about one of them in particular. So the first one on the list is Jezrin Raksaki, who played all 90 minutes for Charlton today. He scored his 2 first-half goals in a 3-2 home win against Burton Albion. Right, can we just stop and talk about Jez Raksaki? Ferg, I understand you've got some high thoughts of this guy.
Yeah, that's the first goal that he scored for Charlton today. It was just a fantastic goal. Drops his shoulder left, right, left. It was Wilfred Zaha-esque. Brilliant finish. The second one was more straightforward, but he just looks head and shoulders above everyone else in that Charlton team. I've actually heard, and I don't know if this is true, that Charlton's Player of the Season voting, they're trying to exclude Raksaki from that because he's been their outstanding player, but because he's Palace, they don't want him to win it, which is a bit disappointing. But he's certainly doing the business at Charlton, and I hope, against all hope, he gets a chance in the team next season, because I think he deserves it.
Theresa, I'm coming to ask you the same question. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm really glad Fergus just mentioned the Charlton Player of the Year competition that is running now. There was a link all over social media, all over Twitter during the week that I know the Palace fans have already hijacked. If you haven't jumped on the Charlton Player of the Year competition, please jump on there. Can you imagine the Charlton fans' faces if Jez Raksaki, we hijack it and Jez Raksaki goes and wins it? Theresa, what do you think of Jez?
I think he's amazing. I mean, if he doesn't come back to us, I think there's something seriously wrong. Why are we putting these kids out from the academy? They're showing their worth and we're not using them. That question has to be asked.
Yeah, I mean, I make you right, Lovely. And Jill, I know you got thoughts on the same subject.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, to the mob down the road, they're the ones. I mean, everyone says that our rivals are Brighton, but they're not. They're not really. It's Charlton, isn't it? It always has been. You know, going back to the days when we'll never play you again. Those immortal words that they sung to us as they sent. You know, as we went down on that terrible day at the Valley. But yeah, listen, he has been a revelation for them. He has committed. See, that's what you want. That's what you want. He's a player. You send him off. I remember hearing stories about Alex Ferguson sending loan players off, and he's saying that you represent our club. Don't just represent yourself, but you represent our club, and go and play your best like you were playing for our club. And that's exactly what he's doing. I hope that they can grow up a little bit down there and do what we did when we never said a single thing when Conor Gallagher was a loan player with us and became our Player of the Season. And you know, it's just a little bit childish if they try and do that. I'm pretty sure that the powers that be at Charlton are not as petty as their fans, and it does happen. What Theresa said as well, I can't not see that happening. I mean, he basically, if you put him into our squad, we then have 3 players filling that place with Olise, Raksaki, and Ayew. So, I mean, again, that's going to be good for fighting for your place. But I mean, for me, I know it's down a couple of leagues, but he has absolutely blasted off down there, and I am very, very happy for him.
Yeah, there's a few comments there from Ian and Dave just saying that it's a big step up from Division 1 to the Premier League. Which
it is, but Dele Alli did it. Dele Alli did it in his first couple of 2 or 3 years with Spurs. So I'm not having it that people turn around and all this. And what about when these small teams play the big teams in the FA Cup? Chesterfield, when they went on that run to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, turning over Premier League teams at will. I'm not having that people just go, oh, it's a big step up. Crikey, you know what I mean? When do we have him then? When he's 27 and we get 3 years out of him before he retires?
And Don Palace has just made that exact point, Jill. Okay, he said that he's 20, he's not a baby anymore. Now it's his time. And Don, mate, you're right. Ian Noble, if you're watching this, jump on the link because I want to talk to you about something. Please jump on the show because I want to talk to you. So James Muckle says, Nick, guess what? On the 15th, on Saturday at 8 a.m, I'm going to the Emirates and I'm playing Crystal Palace Down syndrome versus Arsenal Down syndrome. And we'll take pictures and videos and I will put them on Facebook and Instagram. James, mate, when you do that, okay, would you please copy me in on the pictures? I would love to feature them on the show. And, mate, good luck to you, buddy, because we are right behind you. Good on you, man. I want to see those pictures, and so do everybody else out on Red and Blue Review Land. So good on you, bud. Right, should I get on with these? Okay, so Daniel Quick, 56th minute substitute for Billericay Town in a 3-2 home win against Bowers. Rob Street and Killian Phillips both played a full match for Shrewsbury in a 2-1 defeat away to Barnsley, but Killian did score and was also booked in the 91st minute. Again, no place for Reece Hamann. He seems to have really dropped off the page as he did not feature for Bromley. Malcolm Iwiobi, he's another one who should be, I think, around the club. Played the first 45 minutes for Hull City in a 1-0 win at home to Millwall. Scott Banks played, I saw this today, did anybody else see this? Scott Banks played a full 90 minutes in a 3-1 home win for Bradford City against Sutton United and scored in the 12th minute and was booked in the 43rd minute. John Kamani-Gordon was not in the squad for Carlisle. Luke Plange came on a substitute in the 63rd minute for Lincoln in a 2-0 win away at high-flying Plymouth. And David Boateng was a substitute for Dover in a 2-1 defeat. Okay, other teams, he says, looking at his notes. Under 21s, last week, as you know, they played Liverpool and they won 1-0 up there. This week, they played Blackburn Rovers and they ran out 3-1 winners away at Blackburn in Lancashire FA County Ground. My understanding with the under 21s, I think they're now 5 straight wins on the bounce. They are flying at the moment. Next up for the 21s is they are home to West Ham United on the 17th of April, 2 days before my 60th birthday. Oh my good God, you old bastard. Okay, so we've done that. No game for the women this week, okay, since the last show. They are, sorry, I'm so sorry about my language. No game. Their next game is Sunday, the 16th of April, 2 o'clock at Hayes Lane at home to Birmingham City Women. Go on, girls, you can do that. Right, so, Greg, if you'd be so kind, Theresa, go for it, my lovey.
Yeah, just to point out, the Palace under-12s won in the Almina tournament in Dubai last week as well.
Well done, kids. Good on you. You're representing the club. Love it. Okay. And Brett is saying, and the rest, Nick. Yeah, thank you very much. So, Ian Noble, are you joining us or what? Obviously not. And Greg, can we have the lineup, please? Oh yeah, I've done that, haven't I? Oh yeah, that was last week, mate. Thank you for that. That's the under 21s. Yeah, there's the Blackburn one. We've done that. 3-1. Excellent result. They are flying at the moment. So the lineup for yesterday: Johnson replacing Guaita, who's injured again. Okay, I'm getting a little bit concerned about Guaita's fitness. Ward, I was a bit. Boys, ladies, I want to talk about this lineup a little bit, if you don't mind, before Jill goes on to the game itself. I was worried pre-kickoff against Leicester that Roy came back in and he featured Ward, Ayew and Schlupp, okay? 3 old stages, well, not necessarily old stages, but old regulars that he used to rely on. Well, he proved me wrong against Leicester, and he did it again yesterday. He featured those 3 once more, and he did it again. So Geehy, Anderson, Mitchell, who I thought didn't cover himself in glories, certainly in the first half. Decore, Schlupp, Eze, Olise, Edouard, and Ayew. Right, lineup. Ferg, what were your thoughts when you first saw the lineup?
Well, obviously Guaita's injured and Zaha was out, so I think Johnson had to come in, and Ayew was a straight swap. I'll have to admit I was nervous before kickoff. I just thought the momentum. I don't know. The momentum from Leicester. It almost felt like it was a knockback because 2 of our best players were missing. But like you said, they went and proved us wrong. Ward and Mitchell actually at left and right back. I think they struggled yesterday. I know we'll come on to it, but Ward in particular, I thought he really struggled first half. But yeah, I think Roy's gone back to his, like you said, they're dependable players. He knows what he's going to get from them. No surprises. Their work ethic is really, really hard. Ayew and Schlupp. So yeah, confident but nervous, I think, before kickoff.
And I think
how wrong was I?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody was thinking that before the game themselves, that maybe it was one of those situations. Theresa, your thoughts as well. Was last week's result against Leicester a fluke win? Any surprises for you in that lineup, Theresa?
No, I don't think there was any. Well, obviously Johnston was a surprise because I didn't realise Gaeta had picked up an injury. I don't think there was any huge surprises. I wasn't surprised that Roy had gone back with Ayew because he does like him. But no, I thought it was a reasonably strong lineup.
Yeah, he likes Ayew, and over to somebody else who absolutely adores Ayew. Jill, your thoughts on the first half?
By the way, don't forget that silly apology form. I want to do something on that later on. Whenever.
Let's start off with that. Greg, bring that up.
No, because I want to talk about the team, because otherwise we're bouncing too far backwards and forwards. Yeah, I thought it was probably about the strongest that we could put out, in all honesty. And like you said, Roy does like Ayew, and he does like Schlupp, and I think it's proved in the last sort of, in fits and starts, he gets more out of those 2 players than Vieira ever did, because they can both go missing. They can both be lazy. But before we go to my comments about the game and everything, I just need to make this honourable mention for the 2 players, really. Apart from Johnston, I thought Schlupp had a fantastic run his bits off yesterday in the first half that wasn't going for us. So, but yeah, I mean, Roy does like dependable players and the usual suspects. So there's no surprises. And again, he sings the praises in the right way that Vieira never did. As in, he starts Eze, and Vieira didn't. And for me, like we said, ages and ages and so many times, if you don't start our best players, then you've got to go. Don't matter who it is. So, but yeah. So you're going to bring that apology form on, because I've got some fantastic stats. Okay. So for all the people pissing their pants about it, because I see it's been doing the rounds on Twitter and everything. So I'll just do some rudimentary. I don't know what he's on, but let's just say he's on 40 grand a week, 2 million quid a year. So he scored 17 goals in 151 games. That's 1 goal in every 9 games, or 8.8. So if he wants to give us about 4 million quid back, I'll sign it. But he's been absolutely crap for the rest of those games.
He was our top goal scorer for one season, Joe.
9.
I know.
He scored 9, and that's the mockery. He did exactly what Benteke did. Benteke was with us 5 years, scored 28 goals, scored 17 in one season. And Ayew scored 9 of them goals, 9 of 17 goals, and he trebled yesterday. He trebled his goal tally at 31 games or 30 games this season. So all the people wetting themselves on the internet about how good everyone is, just remember that 2 weeks ago we hadn't won a game in 2023, and the Palace internet was in meltdown about who should be going, who should be staying. He signed another year. He's done this, done that, and now, you know what I mean? He's like the brown sauce with bacon. You know what I mean? It's like the best thing ever. Can't believe it. But anyway,
Jordan Ayew, he scores when he wants.
Yeah, quite right, mate. Quite right.
By the way, and I did look up one more thing as well, and it's a great stat, I think. His dad's second name is Pele.
You said pre-show it was his mum. You said pre-show it was his mum.
I thought, yeah, well, he's taken his mum's surname. Anyway.
Can I just make a point, Joe, on Ayew?
Yeah, go on.
Back in the day when Roy joined, he had a choice of signing a young Erling Haaland or a Jordan Ayew. And
he never.
He did. God's honest truth. He had a choice between Erling Haaland and Jordan Ayew.
That's akin to the record company that turned around the Beatles.
Yeah. Like, what Fergus just said is absolutely bang on. We had a chance of signing Erling Haaland instead of Jordan Ayew.
But listen, I'm not going to knock him. Like I said yesterday, we'll come to it in a minute when I do this the match review.
Go on, then, mate. You crack on with your match review.
Okay, so and again, what we're going to do as we go through, we're going to go through sort of the goals, and we're going to do something a little bit different than what we usually do, people. So Sam Johnson really was the person that, you know, he's 2 fantastic saves, especially from Aronson and Harrison, were the reason that we didn't get hammered in that first half, and it would have been deserved as well. But yeah, I mean, eventually they did score, Leeds, from a corner, and you know, of all the people to score, it was, no matter what you think of him, Bamford, it was a very, very good goal. Everything that they threw at our keeper for the first 20 odd minutes, you know, he saved. He had absolutely zero chance for that. He lost his marker. They're a very good side at blocking. They're very, very organised. They're very physical. And they're like I say, they're very, very good at blocking, and that's exactly what they did. They managed to block Mitchell for a split second, but that was enough for Bamford. But you know, to be away from Mitchell and literally free. But yeah, I mean, he did, but he did. You know, we can remember when he scored against us last year. But the sheer joy of him of the way that he celebrates his goals against us, because he does score now regularly against us, you know, it's not lost on me that he must read social media and he's like, you lot, you know what I mean? And he got dogs abuse, but yeah, I mean, and again, it was just a well-worked goal, and credit where credit is due. You know, they were battering us. They were making us make mistakes. They were all over us. They were very, very physical. Anytime we got the ball, Eze got the ball, kicked him. Olise got the ball, kicked him. So, you know, but yeah, it was a well-deserved goal. But even though it was one-sided, we did have opportunities. Schlupp from a corner, hits the post from 3 yards. Ayew from another corner misses an open goal, free header from 2 yards. Yeah, it was quite bizarre. So whilst our goalkeeper kept us in it, you know, us being sort of more than wasteful, really, was the reason that we didn't get on a score sheet until really 46 minutes. I just want to mention as well, it took 43 minutes for a Leeds player to get booked And it was, like I say, just cynical. And you could see that the consistent and perpetual kicking and stopping, tugging, kicking, tripping of anything to stop Michael Olise that was a definite another plan that Leeds, that they carried out very, very well. Anyway, look, just as it looked as though we was going to go in at half time, 1 down, and there's a free kick. Schlupp again gets up really well. He made loads of space for himself yesterday, but it hits him on the shoulder and sort of slow-mo loop towards the goal. And everyone stood there thinking that their goalkeeper, Melier, is going to come out and pick it up. And the only person that reacted, you can see from this freeze frame that Guayi just says, I'll have some of that. And there's no one near him. The keeper has pretty much bottled it as well. So instead of going in sort of 1 down, we go in at 1-1. Quite literally amazing. And again, VAR. How long did that take? 90 seconds, nearly 2 minutes. Yeah. And he was a mile on. And they did this for 3 of our goals, I think. Took way too long. But yeah, absolutely bizarre. But again, if he's the only one, look at the Leeds players. There's 4 of them that failed to react there. There's 3 standing together, and the one that plays him onside. It's the most amazing, terrible marking. Pretty much, what we've been guilty of at set pieces this year, because we have conceded a lot of goals from set pieces. So yeah, it was. It really was poor defending.
Can you just hold it there while Greg's got that picture up on the screen? Okay.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen,
yes.
At Facebook and YouTube land, are you aware? Looking at Michael Olise with his fingers, I'm not going to repeat it because I don't want a warning from the producers. But are you aware of exactly what he said behind his finger, which is over his lips? It was as he was standing in front of a certain section of the home crowd, and what he said was, "Shut the up." Okay. Notice I didn't swear. Okay. Shut the front door. Red and Blue Review just put it up there. Shut the front door. Well, you know exactly what he said. Now, yeah, shut the front door. And I thought it was to the point was what you can't see from that picture was the instant second later. Okay, Gehi, turned to his right as if to say, "Who's he talking to?" He thought he was talking to him. He thought Olise was talking to him. He literally turned his head to the right. Mark Gehi turned his head to the right, thinking he'd said it to him. But clearly he hadn't. He'd said it to the home supporters. And it was the funniest moment. If you haven't watched that on the highlights, go back and have a look at it. It is one of the funniest moments of the game. So, Joe, I'm sorry to interrupt, mate.
No, that's all right. So, like I said, we go in at 1-1. When if we'd have gone in 1-0 down, we could have said, yeah, a little bit of hard luck. But they battered us for sort of 35 out of 46 minutes. But anyway, the second half starts, and it is quite literally a counter-attacking masterclass from Olise and Eze. It starts with Eze. He's breaking through, and he feeds Olise, and he pushes him. He pushes him a little bit too wide, but he stops. He gains his composure, and he puts in a cross. And one of the most bizarre things that I've seen. So we see Jordan Ayew miss an open goal, a free header, open goal 2 yards out, and then he quite literally out jumps a 6'4" centre back. He leapt like a salmon, because he really did. And he smashes a header, an absolute full neck bending header into the corner off of the goalkeeper. And then unbelievably, we're leading 1-2. Do you want to discuss that goal? Yeah, I'm sure that you guys want to. It quite literally was. Again, Olise is just everything Michael Olise does is pinpoint, and unfortunately for us, we are not the only ones that notice this. But that was again, you can see in a line, Leeds have got 5, 6. They've got 5 players in a line to defend that against 2.
Yeah, but hold on, Joe. Ferg, I want to ask you about this. The immediate change in the second half was the fact that our fullbacks were pushing further forward, okay, straight away pinning them back a little bit. In that photo that Greg just had up on screen, notice who nobody's mentioned in that shot there was actually Joel Ward, okay?
Yeah,
and that was the difference. I'll let you describe it, but I think that was the overall difference between the two.
Yeah, you're right. Wardy's header to win. He won that header in the middle of the park, which went to Olise, which started the attack. It was an amazing header. He was like 2 foot above the Leeds midfield player when he won it. Fantastic header straight to Olise, and then obviously Olise does what he does, drops his shoulder, puts a inch perfect cross into Ayew. I know the keeper got his hand to it, but there was no way he was stopping that. It was a fantastic attack. Just on that, the second half, I think that goal just before half time completely changed that half time talk. You know, if we'd have gone in 1-0, you know, it probably would have been, you know, geeing them all up. But the Palace players would have gone in buoyed by that. Jill mentioned a couple of the chances that we had, and I think a lot of them came from, I think Leeds were weak at set pieces, free kicks, corners. They just looked vulnerable. And I think at half time, we just said, just go out there, attack them, get your crosses in. You know, they're vulnerable in the air. They can't defend. And I think he also said to Olise and Eze, just run with the ball, find some space. I think that's what they weren't doing in the first half. Yeah, great header from Ward, straight to Olise, does what he does best, puts it onto his left foot. Fantastic goal by Ayew.
Yeah, I think it would be remiss of me if I don't bring Theresa in about the bullet header. Theresa, over to you. Eulogise about your man Jordan.
It was a brilliant header, I thought. It had power on it. It had precision. It went exactly where he wanted to go, and it went in the back of the net. Yay, we scored. Ayew scored. Just for Gel.
And what was your response at that point, Theresa? Were you thinking of Gel and Mittel?
Funny enough, no. I don't think of them continuously, but I did think, oh, yes, he scored. I was happy that Ayew scored.
On the subject of Mittel Patel, ladies and gentlemen, in case you're wondering about Mittel Patel, he's still very much a part of our team. I've been talking into this afternoon. He may even be on the show next week, but he wanted to say, he did say something when I spoke to him about Jordan's performance yesterday, he did say, yeah, but what the rest of the season? That's all he said. Anyway, Gel, we interrupted you. You carry on, mate.
No, that's all right. Well, this is what I said we was going to do. We was going to discuss the goals. And like I said, unbelievably, all of a sudden we're 1-2 ahead, and 2 minutes later, I mean, it's just the blast, the run through. Leeds were incapable of dealing with direct runs in the second half. That was completely their undoing. And Eze finds Olise, and Olise he sort of jinks forwards. And but as Eze passes to Olise, he carries his run, and the Leeds players just they ball watch. They don't go with the player. Eze carries his run, and Olise just thinks it between two players straight perfectly into his path, and with the outside of his foot, of his right foot, he just plants it in the bottom corner, and it's limbs. It's almost limbs it's limbs on the field. It's limbs in the stand. It's unbelievable. And that really, hang on a sec, but yeah, go on.
All I was going to say was you were right to highlight the ball from Olise to Eze, okay, where he dinked it under the goalkeeper, okay. But had that have been a top 6 club, the tissues would have been out on Match of the Day, wouldn't they? But they barely even mentioned. I don't know if any of you saw.
No.
Did you see Match of the Day? No.
All of I've not seen it, no, but I was out till late last night. So, but everyone I've seen, the commentary have said that was a brilliant goal, because it was a brilliant goal. And like you said, we've scored goals in the past that, had it been scored by a top 6 side, it'd be on a loop on YouTube. You'd be able to watch it all the time and have millions and millions of hits. But now we sort of everyone's seeing these goals, and people are seeing these players. They've been let loose. I mean, Ferg, that goal for me just epitomised Eze and Olise together yesterday.
But wasn't it Eze that said that Roy Hodgson had just told them to go out and do what they do best, and they felt that they were all less restricted?
Yeah.
Right. Stop picking on my parade, because I'm saying that later.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
Great minds and all that, yeah.
Yes.
Ferg, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I mean, well, I hope I'm not going to steal Gel's thunder, but there was a quote from Roy about he knows the music and the notes. Palace just need to play the tune, and I think that's what we did in the second half. He just said to Olise and Eze, just go and do what you do best. He just had the freedom of the pitch, and they didn't disappoint. It was, I mean, that move from, I mean, Eze had some really, really great moves from that left-hand side, cutting in on the right.
But we all know that he does that. I mean, do you remember that Sheffield United goal that he scored when he cut in from the halfway line and just carried on running and then placed it in the far corner? He is that intelligent, Eze, that if he hasn't got a pass on, that he quite literally will, he'll do it himself.
He did that home and away, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and then so 3-1 turns into 4-1. Michael Olise picks the ball up deep and he just carries on, runs 60 yards, and again directly through the middle. Again, Leeds couldn't. I think they were so worried about our players out wide that when players went through the middle, they were almost they were just given unobstructed runs. So Olise is running through the middle, and it quite literally created a 4-on-2 in Palace's favour. Eze, I thought, was favourite to the right, but he passed to Edouard on the left, laid him in with a fantastic ball, and then he smashed it into the bottom right-hand corner. And it's like what? 4-1. We're 4-1 up at Ellen Road. It's again another player that's underused by Patrick Vieira, and we know what he's all about. He's very, very direct. He's got left foot, right foot. His headed might not be fantastic, Edouard, but he knows where the goal is. And I think it was just one of those. Yeah, one of those. It was one of those days where you just needed, certain players just needed one chance, or two or three, really.
Absolutely. It also means that both our strikers have both scored in the last 2 games.
I know.
And that's how much confidence they're going to have going forward. That's going to just hugely change their mindset.
And you say that, Theresa, it's more important at this end of the year, because people are now saying, we maybe only need one more, maybe 2 more wins, and we will definitely, well, I say definitely, nothing's ever definite, but, we'll be considerably more safe than we were 2 weeks ago.
I was going to say, Eze was all over the park yesterday. I didn't know what number he was playing at. Was he an 8?
He wasn't just given a free roll. It was obviously a free roll.
That is exactly the point. And Jill's right what you just said. The shackles are removed. Ian Noble just said something about it in the chat about, he's been given the license to have a bit of freedom. And
don't use that word shackles.
Me, sorry, I just took that. I just used that.
Oh,
sorry,
okay. Okay, no, it's okay. Anyway, so I basically, do you remember that little passage of play where I wanted to rewind it, but I was so busy jotting stuff down. Do you know how many passes that we did? Did anyone count them?
No.
Something like 34, wasn't it, Joe?
I thought it was 90 seconds before a Leeds player touched the ball. Palace fans were olaying and everything. It was just ridiculous. So I mean, we're up at Ellen Road, we're thrashing them 4-1, and we're passing the ball around superbly, and the away fans are chanting, "We want 5." Hughes eventually decides, after everyone else refused to shoot, that he would have a crack from the edge of the area. The ball takes a massive deflection straight into the path of Ayew, who turns into prime Michael Owen, and he slams the ball home. The Leeds players waited for a lino flag. Ayew waited for a lino flag. I waited for a lino flag. United 5-1. What's going on here?
Jill, stop that, because I want to say something about the away fans yesterday. And this is absolutely relevant to that picture there. Leave it on screen a second. I need to point this out to each and every one of you that made your journey up to Ellen Road yesterday. You are a hero, okay? But the funniest video is circulating at that point, because it then went to VAR, and my son Sam was amongst them, and he's in line with Ayew. So they knew that it was onside. We didn't know it was onside, but they knew it was onside. So the VAR check went up on screen alongside them saying possible offside. And the away fans were singing, "We don't care, we don't care, we don't care," about the sign being up on the screen, because they knew it was a goal. It was as funny as anything. So well done. Hats off to each and every one of you that made that trip up to Ellen Road. Jill, carry on.
But just quickly before Theresa and Fergus have a view on the goal, what was sort of almost was strange, and again, just watch it. Is Ayew finished that right like he knew he was offside, just smashed it, and it was such a good finish. It was like, don't care, whack. And he didn't celebrate. He thought he was offside. I'm telling you, he thought he was offside. But it was just that finish of like top class, because you don't care. It doesn't matter. He's whacked it in. It's going to be called. It's going to be called off. But obviously, you know, he turned round. He smashed it in. Turned round, looks at the lino, and there was no flag. And he was still, as he was walking back, there was a couple of like, yeah, well done. I'm waiting for VAR to kick in and cancel it out. And then all of a sudden, everyone's like, there ain't no flag here. There ain't no, you know what I mean? He ain't offside. And then the celebration started. I thought that was, again, a great finish. And he had his, you know, that half. I would go as far to say that half for Ayew was probably his best half since the time that he scored that wonder goal against West Ham 3 years ago. I would say that was his, you know, like I said, and I've always said it, no matter whether I like the player or not, where credit's due, it will get credit from me. And I thought he was absolutely rubbish in the first half, and it was pointed out where he didn't track back runs, caused us loads of problems by not doing his job properly in the first half. But the second half, when he was given a little bit more responsibility, he was played absolutely fantastic. And any other time, he's going to he'll probably get, you know, man of the match. Scores 2 goals, but outshined. But yeah, so Ferg, that what do you think?
Yeah, so going to the goal celebrations, I genuinely think they ran out of a goal celebration because we'd scored so many. They didn't know what to do. The 5th goal goes in, you're like, right, how am I going to celebrate this one? But yeah, I mean, again, it was Eze cutting in from the left, you know, beats a couple of Leeds United players, squares it to Husey, and he's
it went to Milivojevic, didn't it? And everyone was saying shoot, and because everyone wanted Eze to shoot, he didn't shoot. Give us to Milivojevic, everyone said shoot, he didn't shoot. Gave it to Husey, they said shoot, and he shot, and it went over.
It deflected, yeah, and like everybody else, I think when it went in, I was like, was he offside? He looked offside. I mean, there wasn't Leeds player near him when he struck the ball, but of course, when that pass was made, he was well onside. So yeah, I mean, I was pinching myself when that 5th goal went in. I was just like, is this happening? It was just surreal. I mean,
Theresa.
Yeah, I think we all were, Ferg. I think all of us were just like going, what's happened? Where did the Leeds team go? There was a brilliant article by the Yorkshire Post today. I don't know if anyone saw it. That it basically said that Leeds substituted all 11 players at half time and brought on identikit players that didn't know how to play football. Because that was the difference between the first and second half.
I think the best thing was I spent a good hour last night trolling on the Leeds United website, putting links up.
You are the worst.
on every single post that they put on there. I'll put the links up for this show. So if there is any Leeds United supporters actually out there watching this live, feel free to say in the chat, yeah, I'm here, and I'll happily bring you on, and we'll have a little chat. And that Roy's story too there is credit to Sky Sports yesterday. They opened with that yesterday, but Nigel Croucher, credit to you for adding the scoreline on there as well. It was one of those things. What we've got to do at this point, boys and ladies, can you please tell me what it is exactly in your mind, Joe? I'm coming to you first. What you think exactly Roy has done different to what PV was doing?
I need to
go on.
I want to carry on. Someone's got really bad interference on their microphones, right? I don't know who it is, but I mean, I've not finished yet, so we will talk about that. Talk about that in a minute. I mean, it could have, it should have been 6. Let's say could have, should have. So olise gets the ball out on the right hand side, and he quite literally takes the piss. He just runs past. I mean, it's, I think 3, 4, 5 Leeds players. Jinx inside. Everything that he does that's absolutely magnificent is on his left foot, but he put it on his right foot and then smashed it into the top of the stand. I mean, he was fantastic yesterday. And again, you asked me that question, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to lead into that now, because this is where I've sort of wrapped it up. So this is the Palace that we knew was hiding under that lacklustre stewardship of Patrick Vieira. A pacey, skillful counter-attacking team, a happier fan base laying at 90 seconds of consecutive passes, players unshackled, your word, to allow their flair and skill to shine. Sometimes you have to shout and bollock players, which is what Vieira didn't like, but you know that Roy and Ray will definitely do, especially with Paddy in there as well. I just never thought that would come from a great granddad writing himself back into Palace folklore. Roy's story too, indeed. And just one more little thing, some extra little highlights for me. When they were winning 1-0, Jack Harrison, he was guilty of about 5 fouls in that first half, and every time that he was he was near either kicked fouled one of our players, or the ball went out for a throw, and the Leeds ball boy always threw the ball to him, and then he threw the ball away, and he wasted time. In the 58th minute, I think when they were 3-1 down, he had to run off the pitch and pick the ball up and run and give it to a Palace player, give it to him in his hand instead of wasting time. I thought that was absolutely joyous, and it really made me chuckle. And then seeing Bamford get subbed off after that smug celebration, that absolutely joyous celebration. There was 7 highlights, like 5 goals, and those 2 for me. Well done, everyone. And like I say, it's not being a tinker man like Vieira did, and playing our best players, and then telling them to go out and do what they do best. Because yesterday, you know, I've said it for ages. If you get 2 or 3 players that are off their game, 8 men against a determined 11 the other side, it is so hard. It's almost impossible. And that's what it seems to have been almost 2/3 of this season, with the odd game where we've been in it, or we've been through luck or whatever, we've just been beat 1-0 or been beat by a last minute goal or whatever. We've been in a lot of these games. But the last 2 games, the other teams haven't been in it. You know, I thought we thrashed Leicester 2-1, and we definitely thrashed Leeds 5-1 yesterday. So there's no coincidence that whatever's going on behind the scenes, that everybody seems happier. That a little bit of old school management seems to have come back in, and if it means shouting and bawling at players, then I'm all up for it.
I just want to read some comments, Nick.
I'm just coming to you now, Ferg. Mark Callahan in the chat has actually stolen my thunder. He said, Roy has kept it simple. Play the players in their right position, get them working hard on the training ground, and let them enjoy themselves. And I think that's it. That's a comparison I sent to the producers to put up on screen. I know it's a little bit unfair because it's comparing Vieira's Man City and Brighton game versus Leicester and Leeds. But I think the relevance to that is the expected goals. I'm not a great lover of that expected goals statistic that's always bandied around. But I think 5.45 against the 1.41 there is absolute. And the touches in the opposition box. And it must be added, okay, and thank you for bringing that up, Greg. Congratulations to young Michael, aged 21 and 118 days. Michael Olise is the youngest player in the Premier League history to assist in 3 goals from open play in a single game. History being made at Selhurst Park under Roy Hodgson. Who'd have thought? Fergus, you were about to make a point.
Yeah, so it's going back to your point about what's he changed. Now, it might be somewhat controversial, but that second half against Leicester, when Zaha went off, was much better when Zaha wasn't playing. I have a feeling that when Zaha's on the pitch, everything needs to go through him, and it restricts us. And I think the second half at Leicester, and certainly the second half at Leeds, when Eze and Olise had the run of the field themselves, I think that's the difference. I think we look more of we're faster, counter-attacking, we look more dangerous. Now, that's not to say that when Zaha's playing, we're a weaker side for it. We're not, we're a stronger side. But I just think it's released those 2 players. They haven't got the pressure to, I need to pass it to Zaha. Because that's what they tend to do when he's on the park. Everything seems to go through him. But I think the fact that Zaha's not around now, and Roy's sort of said to them, just go and play your game. It's giving them the freedom.
That leads me nicely into the question I wanted to ask the panel and everyone else there in Facebook land. Do you think the way we're playing now is going to maybe make Zaha rethink as to whether he wants to sign a new contract? Now he's been saying that we're playing with the freedom that they are.
Can I answer that in a second? I'm going to answer that in a second. First of all, congratulations on your observation that Ray Lewinson wasn't wearing shorts yesterday. Theresa, great spot. The chat's on fire because Lucy Usher has just put in there, Roy has put the Roy back into Croydon. Brilliant. Absolutely outstanding. Now, on your question about Wilfried Zaha, I know they gave him an improved offer to taking, I think it was circa £200,000 a week or something like that, and he hasn't signed it. And I think they kept bounding it out on Sky about the fact that we don't win without Zaha. But hang on a minute, didn't he go off before half-time last week and we beat Leicester in the second half without him on the pitch? Didn't we annihilate Leeds United yesterday where he wasn't even on the coach? Okay, I wish they'd just put that boring crap to bed because it's getting on my proverbials. Okay, Joe, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I don't know. I think the 200 grand a week thing is banded about. I don't think that's the truth. Like, literally, we cannot. I'm telling you now, we cannot afford to pay him that amount of money, and then sign other players. That would almost force us into using our academy players, which I know, which we've screamed for forever. But you're going to have someone else coming to the club more than likely at the start of next season. Well, before the start of next season. And
really,
well, you think Roy's still going to be there for next season?
Okay, Facebook land, your thoughts. I mean, let's assume that he's actually found a way of making us tick, a way of making us play. He's contracted until the end of the season. If we go on a particular run, and we're going to be talking about the run of fixtures coming up, okay, and comparisons shortly, because I've got a slide to show you a little bit later. If Roy gets us, how many we've got left? 8, is it, Ferg? Yeah, it's 8 games, isn't it? Roy gets us another 4 wins. Would you consider an extension to his contract out in Facebook land? Somebody's already come back. Gerard's already said, Roy, yes, 1 more year. What do you think, ladies and gentlemen, out of Facebook land? I'd love to know your opinion. Roy, Prime Minister, says Brett. Well, he's obviously been on the booze today again. And also, while I think about it, James Muckle, I've got your text message, mate. What I actually was asking for is your pictures of when you play at the Emirates next weekend. Please send me those pictures. Thank you, mate. At least we're in touch with each other now on Messenger. Send me those pictures because we will feature them on the show whenever the next show is. Theresa, you wanted to make a point?
Did I?
I thought we had your hand up. No.
No, I mean, I don't think Roy will be here next season. I don't think Roy will want to be here next season. He stepped in because Steve Parish asked him, and he's done a good job so far. The only way that I could see Roy being at the club is if we had a new manager in, and Roy was, I don't know, in the background somewhere giving his advice on to how some of the players play. But I cannot see him as our manager next season.
Okay, Joe.
But just some very rudimentary maths. What do we get? Does anybody know what our if we stay in the Premier League, what money we'll get next year? Should we call it 150 million with advertising and everything else? Is it about 150 million that comes into the club? 120 million? It can't be something like that, because if it's 120 million to keep Wilf at the club and pay him 200 grand a week is 1/12 of our income. And we will not pay. We cannot do that. What happens if he gets injured? Again, and as he get older, you get injured, as we've seen. It's more and more injuries. He's an impact player, twist, turn. I mean that not in the game aspects. I mean in the fitness of twisting and turning and step overs and stuff like that. We cannot give a player £10.5 million a year. Don't care. Even if we were in Europe, we couldn't give a player £10.5 million a year. So I have a feeling that if it is literally all about money, which it shouldn't be for Wilf, it shouldn't be. You know, he's got enough money to last him the rest of his life if he's buying his own football team and he's got this and he gives a certain amount of money to charity, irrespective. That I'm telling you now, I don't think he'll be here next year. I think, you know, there are other teams out there that will give him 200 grand a week. And if it is about the money, but if he wants to stay and he wants a statue, then I can't see it happening unless we fill the whole team up with kids and we're paying them $3 grand a week.
I think it sets a
I want to move it on. Boys, I need to move it on because we're running out of time rapidly, yeah? Okay, ladies and gentlemen out in Facebook land, or more importantly on YouTube land now, okay, get on there, get onto our YouTube channel. Please give it a like. Lucy's just put the link there for you. Copy and paste that link. Get onto our YouTube channel, The Red and Blue Review 8132. That's where we're going to be broadcasting from predominantly next season. So if you want to follow us, if you want to enjoy your Sunday and your Monday evenings with us, please get on there and give it a like. Your chance to win a mug this week. Okay, so that stunning win moved Crystal Palace back up to their rightful 12th position in Premier League, 6 points clear of the relegation zone, while Leeds are in 16th place, just 2 points above the drop. Jill, very quickly, then I've got to move on to my last topic. Go for it, mate. Today,
or yesterday, was our 101st day in 12th place.
Really?
It was 100. They said on Sky yesterday. It was 100. We'd spent 100 days in 12th place. They said that's our place. I don't think that's been done before.
It's an amazing stat. Some people have got too much time on their hands. Right. Okay, Greg, that slide, please, for up and coming fixtures. So we're still looking over our shoulders, allegedly. Well, I think that's wrong. You got in Facebook land, have a look. That's the next 6 games. Okay, so we know we've got Southampton on Saturday, West Ham, Everton, Tottenham, Wolves, and Bournemouth. Okay, Greg, the other stat, please, in comparison to the 2 teams above us. The 2 teams above us, for those of you who are not looking up the league, where you should be now, are right there for you. It's Chelsea and Fulham. Now, I want you to have a quick look at what this slide that we've prepared for you. So you know our games. We've just mentioned them. Southampton, Everton, Wolves, West Ham, Spurs, Bournemouth, Fulham, and Nottingham Forest. Every single one of those is a chance for us to gain some points. Now, Chelsea and Fulham are 6 points. Yeah, massive 6 points above us in the Premier League, okay? However, compare our games I'm not really interested in Fulham's because I think there's a slightly easier. But look at Chelsea. Chelsea have got Brighton at home. They've got Brentford at home. Both they could drop points against. Better one, you've got to realise with that Brighton game, they're sandwiched between 2 games against Real Madrid, home and away against Real Madrid. They've then got Arsenal away, Bournemouth away, Nottingham Forest, which is obviously winnable. Then they've got to go to Man City away, Newcastle at home, and they finish they're probably going to finish the Premier League against Man United. That fixture hasn't been confirmed. Their fixtures are frigging awful in comparison to ours. Now, they are only 6 points above us in the Premier League. I think, as a fan base, we need to be looking up to see if we can get Chelsea to finish in the lower half of the Premier League and Palace to finish in the top half of the Premier League. What a coup that would be. Like I say, Fulham's games are a little bit easier, but they've still got to go to Man City and Liverpool and a couple of other teams in there like Crystal Palace and Man United. So your thoughts out of Premier League land. Can we finish above Chelsea? Can we even reach Fulham? Your thoughts, please. I'd like to know, right, panel, thinking the Southampton game coming up, your thoughts, please, on a prediction for that fixture coming up at Southampton. Ferg, you going to the Southampton game?
Yeah, I'll be there. I'm going 2-1 Palace.
2-1 Palace? Oh, that'll make a change, Ferg. Okay. Theresa, are you going to the Fulham game?
Fulham, yeah. I'm going Fulham away. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'm talking about
Southampton. No, Southampton on night, so no, I'm not going to that one.
Right, okay. Your score prediction for that game, please.
3-1 Palace.
Whoa! Optimism at its best. Mr. Olioke, your thoughts, please.
2-2.
Ooh, 2-2.
Desmond. We
just know we're going to kick one of their players. You know we're going to kick one of their players, and Ward Prowse will score against us. He always does.
You've just taken the words out of my mouth. Ladies and gentlemen out of Facebook land that have been watching the show for some time, because we have been going many years now, I'll come to the conclusion, James Ward-Prowse is one of my most hated players in the Premier League. Nothing would give me any more pleasure than to see Palace spank them. They need that sort of thing. Fulham, Graham O'Neill says Fulham have no Mitrovic for the remainder of the season. Great point. So why can't we catch Fulham as well?
Actually, that's wrong.
I know he's coming back from Palace. I know he's back for our game. Yeah,
Mitrovic will be back for our game, won't it?
Yeah, that's how it stands at the moment. But don't forget, Fulham are taking that ban to an appeal, and that ban for Mitrovic could actually even be extended because of them taking that to appeal. Richard Thomas is saying 2-5 Palace. Lee Lockwood is saying 2-1 Palace. Who else? Graham Kitcher, I hope you're well, buddy. 2-0 Palace. Okay, and some think Southampton have gone since Dave Hart. Nick would take Ward-Prowse at Palace. Mark, you obviously know me too well because you know exactly. Yeah, and you know what? You're probably right as well. Anything else, boys? Because I'm running out of breath here. I know you've all three of you got a positive you can give me. Ferg, finish the show, please, on something positive.
So I think Roy's instilled belief back into the team. And yesterday, I've never seen the players. I mean, even Olise had a massive grin on his face. So those players are very, very happy at the moment. If they can take that into the next 8 games, we'll be fine.
Mother Theresa, your thoughts, please. Give me something positive.
I thought our fans were outstanding the last 2 games, especially at home against Leicester with the scarves. And I'd love to see that continue. And I think that's really buoyed up the players as well. I think we are the 12th man and we'll keep the team up.
Jason Cadle's inspiration. Jay, well done, mate. I've seen other fan bases even mentioning what you achieved by your social media exploits last week. So well done, and I'll be right behind that. Let's bring the scarves back to Palace. Mr. Holyoke, a positive from you, please. Jordan Ayew, see your future captain, something like that?
I'm just going to say, and it doesn't pain me, and I'm not going to say, but Roy.
for Roy Hodgson. Okay, well, I don't know where to finish off. Really, I've got no. Go on, mate.
Just very quickly, not that she'll do, but if she ever just look back on social media one day, my little granddaughter Rose is 1 today. So happy birthday, Rose.
Happy birthday, VB.
Happy
Oh no,
birthday,
he's
Rose.
young one. Happy birthday, darling. What a great picture from Eddie and Olise, Eze and Hodgson yesterday. If you see that from front on, Gel, you said pre-show you thought that was the picture of the day, was it not?
Picture of the season for me.
Happiness personified, that is. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Nick Philpott. It's been an absolute dream and a pleasure hosting this with you, this wonderful panel and everybody behind the teams. That's Greg Ellis, that's Nigel Croucher, that's Lucy Usher, and everybody else connected to the show. Get over to our YouTube channel. You're going to need to if you want to carry on watching us. On behalf of myself, Nick, and the rest of the team, good night, everybody. Take care. God bless. Other Palace.
Good night, everyone.